Buenas tardes a todos.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Vamos a hablar de
Today we will talk about
lo que
dual
creo que
stack.
vamos a hablar de IPv6.
That means IPv6.
Si alguien no conoce IPv6,
If
pues,
someone doesn't
la
know
Wikipedia hoy,
IPv6, well, check it out in Wikipedia
empieza a leer mientras que
and
estamos
start reading
¿vale?
while we start talking.
Entonces, hoy lo que veníamos a
So,
presentaros
what
no
we
es nada
will
más
present
que
today
nada más y nada menos
is
que el primer feed de inteligencia o de
the
amenazas
first
en IPv6.
feed of intelligence of threats in IPv6 and IPv4.
¿Vale? Bueno, alguno me dirá, hombre,
Some of you may say, well, it's not as bad as all that. IPv6, who is using it? I don't have it at home, so if I don't have it at home, the people who use malware, maybe they don't have it either. Well, some people use this hashtag internally, in their mind at least, but it's no longer valid because part of the malware are already being implemented in IPv6. This proxy used in several bank Trojans implements IPv6 and also advertises it in its capabilities to propagate to bank Trojans and to send information to the bad guys. If the industry of malware is implementing IPv6, and there's lots of malware in the current scene, we have lots of Trojans that are increasing. We have this collection of 2018 on the screen. If we focus on one of them, we will see later on all the details. We have already found information on this Trojan, which is in dual stack. This Trojan has compromised sites, command and control that implement dual stack. So it's not enough to filter things. Seeing all this, and as time goes by, we thought, well, why don't we start working on this? Why, if in NIST and other organizations they spent years publishing documents warning about the IPv6, about the dual stack, about the necessity of implementing safety procedures. Well, one of the big problems we have now is IPv6 is not taken into account, and this is a big problem because some people don't even know that they have it. If you don't have it, you can't filter it. And if you have it and you don't know how to filter it, well, there's an additional step that we try to preempt, which is when I have the tool for filtering, do I know what to filter? Where's the filter? Who's the one who gives me the IP? What do I have to filter in order to avoid problems? So today we will talk to you about the first IOC feed, but before that we will tell you how, with the same information, you can also play a little to find the threats. Yes, this feed that we will present to you today is not only about a list of IPs or domains that are related to malicious agents. We are used to this information in a feed, and with its domains and IPs, what I will show you now is you can download this information if you want, and what we have seen here at the back, these domains here, that could be sort of suspicious with IPv4 address. If we look at the ports that these IPs have opened, there are many that match. It seems to be that the configuration they might have is some relation between them. So, in threat hunting and analysis, it is important to know which threats are related to each other, basically because the people in the background could be the same. If we start taking a look at the IPv6 addresses of these domains, we see that the IPv6 addresses are not easy to read, but there's things in common. Could you tell me, someone tell me what they have in common? The prefix IPv6. We will talk about this several times. If in addition we have, apart from the prefix, which is included in the feed, you can see that this is actually malware, which is classified in 3 levels of taxonomy. And here we have the prefix. This is an RSC where people discuss about the addressing assigned to someone who wants to have IPv6 addressing. So it says it is recommended to assign a bar 48 in general when an ICP requests a range of IPv4, he gets a bar 24. With IPv6, this is a bar 48. And a bar 64 is when you will only need one subnetwork only. But in the end, never. Never 128, a single IP, when only one device is to be connected. That means that at home in my access to VPS, we will get at least a bar 64. IPv6 has 128 bits, which means that it's very similar to IPv4 and ASN, autonomous system, which is the distributor of those prefixes. So we have, if you subtract 64 from 128, so we will have to buy 64 times IPv6 addresses. So you can have a huge amount of IP addresses in IPv4, but when we have a prefix, it is associated to the site, an agent, an entity that is being allocated or assigned the bar 64. So here we have it. This is what the web looks like. It's an open web. And from there, you can start downloading in JSON and CSV and soon in sticks all the IOCs that we're collecting. Right now we have about 10,000, can filter by country. And we also have these 2 tables by way of summary. You have the top IOCs related to malware, and blue the ones related to fraud. So you can browse around this website. So we will focus on one of these things, the bottom right, which is the top IPv6 prefixes by IOCs. This means that in the first column we have prefixes. IPv6 focuses many threats. And this is important because there are some cases in which, for example, an VPS provider does a poor job and you get an IPv6 address. That means that they're not complying with the standard. If they give you a bar 64, well, it's IPv6. So there's a prefix, which is the one marked at the top, that says almost 3,000 related IOCs. So the ASN, well, we can find relationships between an ASN. Why is it created? What prefix does it create and publish? In the end, just like when we filter in a firewall, any attack originated in IPv6, you don't have to look at the prefix at the host, but you have to look at the prefix. In the case of malware, the same can be the case. Now you have to take into account that I know that this is a prefix. There's a lot of malware behind this one. So maybe the prefix is being used by a malicious agent, probably the same one, and I can block it. And I can probably find relationships with the rest of IOCs. Okay, I am in charge of this, right? Okay, coming back to the filter we prepared, let's focus on what we've been checking out the past few weeks. Here, for example, we have the IOC that are clustered, and we have two large groups with two well-known ASN. Apart from these people accumulate lots of IOCs and devices. It is interesting to see how the threats are distributed in the prefixes and how they are associated to the existing ASNs. What we're seeing here, I mean, I know it's big, but it is grouping by prefixes. Here we have the types of threats that we identified within that prefix. What Rafa was saying about one prefix, one device. We also have one prefix, several devices, and several threats. So we no longer have to think that a machine that has IPv6 is what we will find. A machine instead will have one IPv6 with one prefix, and it makes a more complex distribution when we think about how to filter it. An important thing we have found, I will just drop it for anyone who wants to research, we've seen the relationship between the dual stack with the same gates or ports in IPv4 and IPv6. There are machines, therefore, in dual stack that have ports that are not filtered in IPv6. That is, not only the regular normal people don't know how to filter IPv6. Maybe we could get in that way, but we have many subcategories. Our distribution right now is focused on phishing and fraud in IPv6, simply because many sites have been vulnerated and they inherit that capability. So, in the malware, we have seen lots of malware and lots of distribution, which was a bit difficult to understand initially. We have an incredible amount of malware families that support IPv6 in several layers within the distribution, within the botnet management, etc. For example, here we have a group between binaries and common control, and we have several families shown here with a leading role in the statistics of IOCs. If we go to Tor, one of the things we've seen is that Tor supports IPv6, obviously, and we are seeing here that the distribution of prefixes is a bit weird. Tor is supposed to be an anonymous network with everyone participates, making availability to the rest a node. What we're seeing here is that some prefixes accumulate lots of nodes. We don't know if it's because someone is setting up many nodes in the same network with whatever idea he may have in mind, or that there is a large community behind a specific prefix. These are things that we should analyze when we can group the accesses. But we have found other unusual things as well. That's why we invite you to take a look at the feed. This is also an extract of what we got. Maybe something here called your attention of those outlined in green. This is an IPv6 represented in hex. The people that have the idea of putting like nicknames like coffee, beef, or whatever. And we see that this is related to the malicious agent. So let us take a look, and well, it's a bit like funny already. I don't know if you know this website. It provides public information about ASNs. And here we can get the ASN. So let's ask, let's search and see what we find behind this. What prefixes does this ASN publish? ASNs publish huge amounts of prefix, but this ASN publishes only two IPv4 and two IPv6, which is quite unusual. However, we have seen it has all 4,766 IOCs within that ASN. So if we go to the prefixes that is published, one comes and the other one goes. I don't know if this is a joke or what, but it's quite unique. Also, the nationality is unique. The ISN in the United States is, but the geolocation of the prefix is in Lithuania. So this is also quite unique or unusual. So I don't have to launch the recommendation of filtering IPv6 with a filter. The probability of it having this set of characters is quite unusual. So, if we search per ASN, we will see three the top IPv6 prefixes by IOCs, even though the prefix is ASND. This one here is it publishes more prefixes, both in IPv4 and 6. If you take a look, it has the ASN has its own website. From Australia, and it has a web portal officially saying that they provide these internet services. This one is also from Russia. We might like it more or less. Has a lot of prefixes, only 7 in IPv6 that are also published. This could be also suspect. Now we get to this one. It has prefix. This ASN has 81 occurrences of IOCs, and we see that it only publishes a single IPv6 prefixes. And it has a service, a host RU hosting service, which I could also apply a bit of deductive capabilities and say, hey, yes, maybe I have to filter that bar 32, which is a large amount from Russia, because I know that it is not going to offer me any interesting, it'll only give me problems. So how do we do it? How do we implement this feed? Okay, with magic. Directly with magic. We're not going to lie to you. What we're doing is collect a large amount of information related to commitment indicators. We collate with all the information Mr. Lugo has about the IOC feed. So we are creating our own dual stack feed with all the processes that include a complete analysis of the dual stack, with the idea of getting all the context we need to determine whether it's good or bad, and the relationship between both environments. Where are we going to? The first step is to create. The second was to show it to the community, share it with everybody. And the next step is that this will be made available in the new version of the IP Lake and Mr. Luca, because the feed is basically static information. You download it and use it, but all the information related to any dual stack in the feed will be available here for consultation, for querying, together with many other things, that are on the website.
We will be generating scoring for each prefix because we want people to understand the importance of starting thinking in terms of prefixes. We will also be generating ASM scoring because of the large number of prefixes and numbers that we will be working with. And last, we would like to recruit people for our alliance, that is to say, researchers that are willing to share this information with us so that we can enhance or strengthen our feed. So if you are a vendor, organization, a university, any organization who wants or needs to share, you will be have a number of benefits by participating in the feed, and then that will also help increase and enlarge our feed, a feed which will be open and ready for all of us. And well, this is all from us. Anything that you may would like to contribute, please share it with us, contribute it, and well, enjoy it. Thank you very much.
¿Qué tal el tiempo?
Bien, ¿eh? Muchísimas gracias.
Nos hemos ajustado.
De todo lo que he visto en lo que habéis presentado, aparte de toda la magia que tenéis detrás, a mí lo que más
Well,
me
other
gusta
than
es la
all
palabra
the
alianza.
magic that you bring with you, what I do like is when you say alliance. This is the best way to collaborate and to contribute our knowledge and to feed each other. So, are there any questions? I know it is lunchtime. I have a question. Have you considered introducing an API so that people can develop things, so that I can generate my own crawler with my own rules? No, actually, we haven't thought about it. Could be very interesting just to get information right away. One of the things that we considered at the time with Mr. Luca rating is what said before. We would like to offer it as an infrastructure. So the capacity can be adapted, we can control it. So if someone, for instance, university research project would like to make any specific testing for any specific pilot, if they just want to do that across the whole internet, the infrastructure is there, available. We thought about it, it is highly specialized thing, but Mr. Luca rating can be fully integrated with an API. Yeah, that would be a good option indeed. Are you aware of companies that do the passive DNS, thirds and others? Yes, that's one of our targets. Entering, building up alliances with these people, they have very, very, very good, valuable information. Any questions? Well, if there are no questions, we would like to thank you very much.